everyone, this is Denise with Liquid Color, and today we're going to take a look at a little travel set here. This is the Winsor Newton Pocket Plus set of 12 half pans. I'm going to be going on a trip in a few months here to Hungary, and I wanted something that I could take with me easily on the plane and out while we're sightseeing. So this just arrived, and I thought I would unbox it and take a look with you guys. So in the box, you'll get this teeny tiny little palette and the Cotman guide for the colors. I did take this out already and I marked which colors came with the kit just so I can have an idea of what to tell you about in this video. And the first thing that I noticed with this kit is that it is pretty hard to open. I don't know if you can see that, I found that if you stick your nail in between the top and the bottom it comes open, but if not, you just kind of yank on it and nothing really happens. So, and if you try and push up on the top, nothing happens. So there's one little tip for how to open it. And this doesn't lay flat. It has this really unique little rubber piece here, and I'll get to that in just a second, but it does cause it not to lay flat when you open it. I believe it's meant to hold on to, so you stick your thumb back here and hold on to the kit that way while you're painting, and you can kind of flatten it out when you do that. And when I was playing around with it before though, the back of this pops off. I don't know if it's supposed to do that, if it's supposed to stay on. I did find that you can still hold that little flap, it stays in your hand, you don't have to worry about it too much. I'm holding it on the bottom piece, and I can hold it just like that. So that's the first thing about this little travel palette set. And I should mention, I don't have any other travel palettes except for the one that you've already seen my palette review for on the airtight one that you can travel with, but it's not necessarily travel size, and it doesn't have anything to hold on to here. It does come with two little pop-out palettes. So this is the first one here, and it has two little connector bits on the back, and they fit either on this side or on this side. So you can go ahead and put those up here, or if you prefer to split up your mixing areas, you can put it down here like that. It also comes with a little travel brush. It's a size 5 from Winsor Newton. It's a little bit small for my hand, so I might just carry water brushes with me anyway, but that is included in the set. And when you're holding this, everything does lay nice and flat. You can pop out this tray as well if you wanted more mixing space down here, but there's no little backings to then hook this up on the top. That would be a neat feature if they had that there, but it's just the two there. Now each of the little pans is individually wrapped. Let me see if I can pop one out here for you. And I'll try and zoom in on this afterwards in editing. There are these tiny little half pans, and each one of them is labeled with their pigment number, so that you can have that information and the number that they are in the line. There's 3 little subsets in here that you can, that you can pop out of the tray itself to remove and I guess refill. I'm not really sure what the purpose of breaking them up into 3 little parts are, but they all come out of the set and can go back into them. So I'm going to go ahead and start unwrapping all of these, and I will pick up once we're all ready to go and show you how they look on paper. So we're all set up here. I'm going to try not to hold this palette too much so that you guys can still see everything I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and put a drop of water on each each of the pans. Get them ready to go. And we're just going to do some swatching out of colors here. So most of the pigments in this set are hues. This is cadmium yellow pale hue. I'm actually okay with the fact that they are hues rather than pigments because I don't like to have toxic paints in my collection. So the cadmiums, the cobalts, those aren't something I usually keep. So I'm excited to kind of try out colors that are similar to those colors that I wouldn't normally experiment with. This is the cadmium yellow hue, so just the regular cadmium hue. It's a nice color. I just got these water brushes not too long ago. I'm still kind of learning how to use them. Not a huge fan yet, but I figured this was a good opportunity to practice with them. This is the cadmium light hue, I believe. Cadmium red pale hue. They have some pretty long names. It's a very orange color. I wouldn't even call that like a warm red. I feel like that is just a very deep orange. Although I'm sure there's people who would disagree with me. This next one is the alizarin crimson hue. This will be our cool red. And again, this is a hue, so it's not the alizarin crimson that is fugitive and that will not be light fast. I believe it has quite a good light fast rating. Let me see if I can find my little slip here. Permanence A. So Permanence AA is the best and A is the second best, so it's not bad for a very bright red. I've got the ultramarine here, and it doesn't say hue, so I'm assuming that this is actually ultramarine. It says pigment PB29, which is in fact ultramarine. Next up is the cobalt hue, cobalt blue hue. In the pans, these look very similar, so I'm excited to see what this looks like on paper. I'm used to having phthalo blue in my palette. Yeah, these colors are very, very similar. The cobalt is lighter in color, and it looks a little bit more opaque, which I know is true for cobalts. Not sure that I'm going to keep this in this travel palette. I might switch it out for a phthalo blue so that I can have a little bit more variety. We'll see how it mixes though. Next is Viridian. I believe this is a hue, Viridian hue. It's going to be our bright green color. Almost like a phthalo green blue shade. It's very vivid. None of these colors are particularly weak other than the cadmium pale hue, which it's right in the name there, so we can't be too disappointed, right? Next is their sap green. Too much water there, sorry. Now, a lot of people I've heard in reviews that Cotmans aren't really highly talked about in a positive way, I should say. They're very, very common. You can find them at any art store or any retailer online. They're very widely available, at least here in the United States. But I know a lot of people don't like working with them. It'll be interesting to start doing some paintings so that I can try that out and have my own opinions about that. But so far, they're bright and vivid. This ochre, the yellow ochre, is a bit on the opaque side, which ochres are more opaque than others, but this one seems to be a little bit more opaque than my Daniel Smith yellow ochre. And the sap green is a pretty bright sap green. My Daniel Smith one is a bit more muted. I have heard that Winsor & Newton's burnt sienna is very orange, which is proving to be pretty true here. This looks a lot like my quinacridone burnt orange with my Daniel Smith, which is actually a good thing. That's one of my favorite colors, but I don't know how helpful it'll be to make nice neutral grays. We'll see about that. And the last step here, we've got burnt umber. It's a nice rich burnt umber. I know people have some different opinions about browns, and burnt umber tends to be more grayish brown, but I actually really enjoy the fact that this is a nice rich reddish brown. I don't love the paler or the greener browns. So those are the colors minus the white. You wouldn't be able to see the white even if I did swatch it out here. So let's go ahead and do some color mixing. Hey everyone! After I finished recording the video, I did make some changes to the palette. As you saw in the little pop-up notes during the video, the cobalt blue was in fact a variation of ultramarine with the Chinese white added to it, so I took that out and replaced it with phthalo blue. I also took out the sap green, which was a really light green, which I can mix from the ultramarine and the yellows, so I wanted to replace that with a darker green that I might get some more variation out of. And then keep it in line with maybe more darks. I also added an indigo in place of the Chinese white so that when you're out on the go and you have this teeny tiny little palette, it might be hard to mix any quantity of black. So I wanted to go ahead and add a really dark color that could give me a good starting point for those dark colors. I also found some clear adhesive dots called Zots that I adhered to the little tray that the pans sit in, so that when I press the pans into it, they stuck to the tray so that they don't bounce around.
all the time, but they're not glued in so that I can still remove them if I need to and switch things out. So I hope this video was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to do some more reviews in the future. If there's anything in particular you'd like to see, please leave it in the comments below. Please like and subscribe and all that other YouTube stuff, and I will see you in the next video.